Welcome to 5 Minutes of X, where for the second time, a villain's master plan is just one magic rock away from reality. The X-Men 25 released on August 2nd, 1966. It was written by Roy Thomas and had art by Werner Roth. We kicked this issue off with the X-Men in Charles's Rolls Royce, taking Jean back to her college. They encounter a fire at an orphanage and stop to help. A good conversation between a firefighter and a witness about how if the X-Men are so bad, as mutants or whatever, why would they stop to help get these kids to safety? It's a great conversation. After the fire, they resume their drive to the college. There's more Jean and Scott thought bubbles about being in love with each other, and an interesting one from Warren. He's given up on Jean from a dating perspective, and he's taking a more fish in the sea approach going forward. We're then introduced to our villain, a dude named El Tigre. He and his henchmen are digging in Central America for a lost treasure, and boy, do they find one. Half a glowing rock that gives El Tigre strange mental powers, but there's another half to this rock that, if found, will give El Tigre more power. It's unclear. They don't really say. But it's at this time that Cerebro goes off, and I'm going to spoil one quick thing here so I can just get it off my chest and move on. El Tigre is not a mutant, and Professor X made it clear early on that Cerebro was for the detection of mutants. We've now seen multiple instances of it detecting mystical power. This sort of cheapens the device if it's just detecting all the baddies. Even if it's name checked here, I just don't understand why the X-peeps can't just find out about the bad boy another way. Later in the series, Cerebro will be used more to find lost, wayward, emerging mutants, and that's a much better plot device than it is today. But with over 60 years of X-Men, there's going to be these little stumbles along the way to greatness while they figure out what all the rules are. But in any case, the projection provided by Cerebro is not clear enough to narrow our villain down. So the X-Men have to head into New York City to find them. And it just so happens that El Tigre and his henches are landing a helicopter near where Angel is searching. The X-Men strike out to find El Tigre, but there are some fun pages of their attempt to find him. Both our villainous team and the X-Men end up in a nondescript building in Manhattan filled with hidden treasures. The X-Men separate to search, which of course means they will get picked off one by one, and boy do they. Beast gets bowload. Iceman hits a wall just as hard as Pietro did a few months ago. Angel gets sleep darted in the back of his neck, and Scott gets caught by a security guard under the influence of El Tigre's mind control. El Tigre gets the second half of the stone, and we end the issue with El Tigre joining the two halves of the stone and turning into this new character, Kukulcan. This issue is entertaining, but there's nothing new to see here. We get a scene with Scott losing control of his eye beams. We get a scene of the villain treating his henchmen like crap. We get a scene where everyone gets captured, etc., etc., etc. It's written well, and I like the art, but this is the first time we've had a Central American character in the comic, which is fun. Though it's the early 1960s, so it's a very stereotypical presentation. The story doesn't even bother to mention if the artifact is from a specific culture, just a lot of Americanized Mayan iconography. Still, though, it's a fun and swift read. I'm really digging that Jean is having to be taken back to college, and that the story is continuing, and that the X-Men are still a part of it. Well, you've survived another session in the Danger Room. For more character info, reading lists, and what other nerdy projects I'm tangled up in, head on over to Jordy.com. New episodes drop Wednesdays at noon and Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Remember, in the Silver Age, you didn't need Sentinels. Just put a brick wall in the script and wait.